going on, guys? Chris here again. We're gonna do something different this time. I haven't decided on what I'm gonna call this series. I just know that I want to take, the concept is gonna be about like probably four. I think I'm gonna go with four albums that I think a couple different things could be something that I believe is like underrated, from a band, like an album that kind of gets pushed aside for other, more notable releases. Ones that I feel like just get panned for one reason or another, that people just don't seem to care for it, whatever that may be. Some that, like me personally, like, there's going to be some things that are more up, my alley, is in not some of your guys' stuff. Like, as I've said many times in here, I enjoy a lot of 90s stuff, a lot of, grunge, a lot of like modern heavy metal rock type stuff, like more underground stuff. Although that won't be the focus at all, and I'm not going to turn this into like, just picking off like, Saint Anger or the album that we shall not name by Morbid Angel, or something. I'm not going to just pick like the cliche things and just be like, I love this because it's hated. I don't really like that kind of thing. I'm not big on being a contrarian. I don't go looking for arguments. These are just things I've picked that I feel get overlooked, for whatever reason it may be. Could be, like I said, just forgotten about, just something that, people don't like, or maybe they have a bad memory of for some reason or another, and maybe once you go back to it, you might look at it a little differently. I don't know. But that being said, the first thing I'm going to show is something that's like wicked underground. I found this on a Bandcamp. This band is called Trog, and the album is called Vomit Reborn. I believe when I looked up on Spotify, it's like each song has like under 1,000 listens, and it's not like I don't know how long they've been around. I know they're a relatively new band. It's basically new old school death metal. That kind of like swampy type sound that bands like Mold and bands like that have. The vocals do remind me actually of Mold quite a bit. They're kind of like really almost like a whispered, like guttural type growl. Like they're very unique in that way. It's not like the real like slow, I would equate this maybe to like early like Cannibal Corpse, like, Eaten Back to Life era. Like there's some thrash to it, not much, but there's a little bit, and there's a lot of great riffs on here. This thing is, it's pretty short. I don't know if it's considered an EP or not. It's only 6 songs, and one of them is an intro. But I believe that this is like some really cool stuff. So yeah, I would check this band out. I believe I got this from Bandcamp. I don't know if they have any more of the physical releases left. But this was something I just came across while searching Bandcamp one night. It's very good stuff. It's probably just what you'd expect, and if you're looking for some new bands in that sound, I would check Trog out. Pretty good stuff. The next thing I've got is one that actually really surprised me. Besides from the few of you that I watch on YouTube, I don't really go on like many forums, and I don't, nobody in my area likes this kind of music. I have one friend that I talk to online, who is into the same kind of shit. But other than that, like in real life, I don't have anybody that I talk to about this kind of stuff. So when I looked up this one right here, and the album is Chimera, I believe is how you're supposed to pronounce it, by Mayhem, I was surprised at like how much this album got shit on, whether it be on forums of people talking extreme metal, or YouTube video comments, or whatever it may be. I mean, it definitely has its fans. It wasn't like a 100% burial of this album, but there was a lot of people shitting on this thing, and in different rankings, I've seen this ranked like really low. And I can see, maybe, how to me, it's a different sound, but in a good way for Mayhem. Like, I adore De Mysterious. I love it, but it's like, how many times, can you listen to that? And I feel like that's a lot of the way that a lot of classic albums of genres go. It's like it's so memorable that only like once in a while do you have to listen to it, and it's kind of like, you know, you just know it inside and out. You know that it's great, and you know that it's there. You don't ever really listen to it. That's how I view De Mysterious. I've seen a lot of people that pretty much it's just like, since nothing else sounds like De Mysterious, like I've just noticed Mayhem has a lot of fans that just like shit on everything that they've done. I hate Grand Declaration of War. I really don't like that album at all. That's the only one that I think is warranted with some of the hate that it gets. There's some good stuff on it, but not enough for me to want to go back to it. But this one is like evil, vile, just dark sounding. There's a lot of great songs on here. It's set up like there's a lot of different. It's not just like it's typical like black metal album, like just, you know, 90s, you know, whatever, you know, second wave black metal sound. There's a lot of different stuff on here, a lot of different sounds, a lot of unique stuff on here. I don't know if I could pick a few favorite songs in here. I know Whore is a great song. The title track is pretty good. Rape Humanity with Pride, and I'd say Slaughter of Dreams, probably my favorite tracks on here. This thing, I think, is criminally underrated. I don't get the hate that it seemed to have gotten. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong places. But it didn't seem to be something that a lot of people had fond memories of or good things to say about. That's one I would go back and check out. The next thing I've got on here is kind of a weird one. This would be more into the category of like maybe a lot of people don't know about it, or some people might not know about it. And that is Gack, the album Fix. This is basically, I believe it's 95% of Laz Rocket. I believe it's the drummer that's not the same drummer, but I believe the rest of the band is the lineup of Laz Rocket. This is really good stuff. It came out after they split up. This is like, you know, that era where like groove metal thrashy type stuff started to come into play. If you could just take a look, this is what I got going on. Yeah, this stuff is really good. Okay. It's kind of like, you know, what you'd expect from that era. Like, it's kind of Pantera-y, kind of, it's almost got some hardcore stuff to it too. Like, a lot of things on here reminded me of like Vision of Disorder, if you're into that kind of thing, or Prong, which is a band I'm a big fan of. I had no idea this thing existed, and I think I found it at my local record store, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And I listened to it real quick on YouTube, and I didn't look anything on it, and then I grabbed it, brought it home, listened to it. Then I started reading more about it, and I'm like, you know, I had no idea the band existed. And this is, I believe, the only album that they ever did. So that's really good stuff if you're into that era of metal. I know some people are not the biggest fans of that stuff, but I happen to be, so it works for me. Okay, no claws. Stop it. The last one on here, I think is less of a, I don't think it's looked down on. I just don't think that this one is talked about enough, and I don't think it gets its due. And that happens to be my personal favorite Deicide album, Once Upon the Cross. For whatever reason, I don't know, the first few albums of Deicide, I think are just so incredible. They're probably my favorite of the 90s death metal bands, honestly, and that might be an unpopular opinion, but I really love Glenn's vocals. I think the Hoffman brothers are two of the best guitarists in that genre. But I don't know what it is about this album that people seem to overlook a little bit, or just not really care about, or ever go back to. The title track is a barn burner of a song. Kill the Christian is a great song. What else is on here? Christ Denied. I don't know. There's a lot of good songs on here. And it's, like I said, my personal favorite. It's really close with Legion. I don't know if Legion beats this one. Probably depends on my mood, honestly. But this album I think is really overlooked. It kind of gets a little annoying with the, just overly, like, anti-Christian kind of, just the same way that, like, Christian bands can be overwhelmingly, like, annoying with how pushy they can be. Honestly, I can listen to any kind of genre, not genre, but any religion-oriented band, because I can tune out the lyrics. Like, it doesn't offend me if it's anti-Christian or pro-Christian or Jewish, or I could do without Nazi stuff. That would be nice. That might be the one that I would be against. But I don't know. It kind of gets annoying with Deicide after a while. I think I've heard other people make that comment too. It's just like, we get it. You hate God. You hate Christians. I don't know. It's like, okay, same thing. Like I said, I think it's as cringy as Christian metal can be sometimes. And there's Christian bands that aren't cringy, and there's, anti-Christian bands aren't annoying either. But I find that it makes me laugh when a lot of people are, they talk about death metal or black metal, and they mention like the one or two bands that happen to be Christian, and you can make fun of that, but you can't make fun of, like, talking about, killing Christians, and that's, I don't know, it's just silly to me. All of it's silly. It's all equally silly to me. But anyways, so those are my four. So like I said, a Trog, a Vomit, Reborn. I would check that one out if you haven't heard of them. Likely you haven't, because, like I said, they're very relatively unknown. But they deserve a little more shine. Mayhem, Chimera, Gack with the album Fix, and Deicide, Once Upon the Cross. Like I said, I don't know what I'm going to call this series, but this is something I want to do going forward. Just to introduce you guys to new music, and maybe bring back some old albums that you might not remember so fondly, and maybe you'll have a different opinion on them. But yeah, that's all I got for you today. Let me know what you guys think about some of these albums. Do you agree with my opinion? You don't agree with my opinions? Like, subscribe, whatever you gotta do. Call me a jabroni. That's cool too. Yeah, until next time. See you later.